The Prime Minister has reacted to this legislation. He spoke to reporters earlier this hour. Here's what he said.
Obviously, we're going to look at this very, very closely and think about the implications, but we're already seeing a number of Albertans expressing real concern about the fact that the Alberta government is choosing to bypass the legislature on a number of issues. These are things that obviously are going to play out over the coming weeks and months. But our focus remains on making sure that Albertans get affordable childcare, making sure that Albertans are part of a growing, cleaner economy that are going to create good jobs and protect our environment for years to come.
And former Premier Jason Kenney, a staunch critic of the act, he resigned his seat in the legislature shortly after it was announced. In a letter posted to Twitter, Kenney said that with a new government in place and an election coming, now is the best time for him to step aside. He went on to say that he is concerned that our democratic life is veering away from prudential debate and towards a polarization that undermines bedrock institutions and principles. With me now is Dwayne Bratt. He's a political science professor with Mount Royal University. Dwayne, you are here just in time. So many questions for you. Let's begin with the legality of this act. How's this going to work? Alberta basically saying we can ignore you, Ottawa?
Well, there's two fundamental problems with this. One is the Alberta government has claimed that it can determine the constitutionality of federal laws and whether they intrude on provincial jurisdiction. Typically, this is done through the courts if there's a jurisdictional dispute because while the Constitution outlined responsibilities to different orders of government, those aren't watertight compartments, and often there is a clash between, for example, the environment and natural resources, and it's up to the courts to determine how that plays itself out. The provincial government is saying in Bill 1 that they can do that they will unilaterally determine if there is federal overreach. That's one problem, and that was flagged back in July and August when Danielle Smith campaigned on this. But there's a second, more fundamental problem with this act, which only emerged yesterday, and that is how anti-democratic it is for Albertans. It bypasses the Legislative Assembly. It gives the ability of Cabinet and the Premier to amend legislation without oversight of the legislature, without it passing the legislature. And it allows the Cabinet to issue directives to provincial entities to violate federal law. And it's a very broad definition of provincial entities. It is schools, it is police forces, it is post-secondary institutions, it is municipalities, it is any organization receiving a government grant, it is any organization that is regulated by the government. And this could be lawyers, this could be engineers, this could be real estate brokers. So this is a huge erosion of democracy if Bill 1 passes.
Okay, and the word that was used was harmful. So if the UCP feels it's harmful, although they didn't define harmful, then they can move forward. So Dwayne, just so...
Yeah. Any past action, current action, or future action, if they deem this that could be harmful, then they can pass a resolution that gives carte blanche to the Cabinet to have all sorts of powers, what we call Henry VIII powers, where they bypass Parliament.
Okay, so you said a lot, and just so all of our viewers understand, can you break it down for us in just simple terms what you mean by the province can overrule police, schools, et cetera?
No, they can issue directives. So,
okay, so what does that mean?
Okay, let's use an example, the carbon tax. The carbon tax was fought in the courts by Alberta. They lost that Supreme Court case. The Supreme Court ruled that the carbon tax is in federal jurisdiction. But Danielle Smith has said there is new evidence they would like to relitigate it. They talk about inflation and the war in Ukraine. So after a resolution saying we condemn the federal carbon tax, they could then issue a directive, let's say to the city of Calgary, you no longer have to collect the carbon tax. We've decided that. that would be a fundamental violation of the rule of law, because instead of courts determining a jurisdictional dispute, the province would be determining that and then directing other organizations that they feel are under their control to violate laws. They make clear they can't tell a private company to do that or an individual to do that. But when we're talking about cities and police forces and schools, and health authorities, that's a large swath of Albertans. They may tell the Calgary police, those gun laws that the federal government has passed, you can ignore those. You're not required to enforce those. Those are very dangerous things.
Dwayne, we heard from the Prime Minister briefly on this morning as he was going into caucus. He said essentially, don't want to fight with Alberta.
Well, Alberta wants a fight with
Ottawa.
Trudeau. I think that was clear. If you watch the press conference with Danielle Smith, she wants Trudeau to talk about this. She wants Trudeau to get involved. They put out a fact sheet where they talked about the power of disallowance. So disallowance is an old constitutional provision, and it's still in the Constitution, that allows the federal government to disallow a provincial law. It hasn't been used in decades, but Smith was almost daring Trudeau to try to do that to provoke an even broader crisis. So while Trudeau may not want to fight with Alberta, it is clear that Danielle Smith wants a fight with Trudeau.
Last question, because I'm just about out of time, Dwayne. Do you think other provinces will be looking at this and thinking, this is kind of attractive in one way or another?
It could very well be. We did see the Saskatchewan First Act come in, but that was just simply repeating what's already in the Constitution. It was nowhere the type of overreach that we're seeing with Bill 1. We often hear in Alberta, well, Quebec does it, Quebec does it. We want to be just like Quebec. But the Premier of Quebec does not have the power to bypass the National Assembly. The Premier of Quebec does not have the types of powers that Bill 1 envisions giving the Alberta Premier.
Dwayne Bratt. Dwayne is a political science professor with Mount Royal University. Thank you so much for being with us.